Hello, it's Richard Haggerty here, and let's talk today about reasons for quitting smoking. In fact, reasons for quitting smoking that will make you a non-smoker. You see, people struggle, don't they? Like smokers struggle to quit. It's well known. Most of them will go through a period of falling off the wagon, feeling like it's really difficult, and going through cycles of trying to quit and then going back on again. And what they really want to do is they want to be a non-smoker, they want to stay a non-smoker. And the problem is there's a lot of poor information out there about what it takes to quit and how hard it is. And in fact, most people think it's harder than they think. Look, um, I'm training for longer races, half marathons, marathons. If you go to that unprepared and you don't have any support and you don't have a plan in place, of course you can't leap into it. So there's a particular mindset, a particular way of approaching this that will help you become a non-smoker. So people overestimate how hard it is to quit smoking. In fact, the jaw dropped on a colleague of mine who's an engineer who said, well, how long does it take for you when you work with somebody to quit smoking? And I said, honestly, between 20 minutes and an hour is typical. But, I work with you till you get the job done. And he found that very, very hard to understand. But the reason is that in our consultation or strategy call, we'll make sure that there's a very, very clear reason and that everything that we maximize the unconscious energy that you've got so that you feel this shift starting to happen. All right. And we can do this today. In fact, you can do it right now by getting clear on what matters. Why do you want to stop smoking? Wanting to stop smoking needs to become an absolute must. And the way that you transition into that is that you start to get really clear on your own personal, deep, subconscious, emotional connection to quitting, which means the more specific your reason is, the clearer your reason is, the more personal it is to you, the more effective it's going to be. All right. And this starts the very first of two things that happen that will move you towards being a non-smoker permanently. This first thing has to happen, which is a reason that is so powerful for you. You go, there is nothing else for it now. No more excuses. Enough is enough. I'm going to do it. I've just made that decision. You decide, you commit, you resolve now. The cool thing, when you connect to a powerful reason, you change. So what kinds of reasons to quit smoking are there? Is there just one that a person can pick? Well, no, smokers will resonate with different things. So some people will resonate from a sudden realization, like what I call the vanity reason, that their hair's smelling, their teeth are smelling, people are actually moving away from them. People notice this all the time. People notice them leaving during a meal, and then when they come back in the meal, everyone has a stench of smoke. Or they leave their stench of smoke in the house when they go to visit people. It stays, even though they go outside to smoke, when they come back in, the material that they were sitting on, the whole room smells. And they suddenly realize that that's it. So you can have the vanity reason or the kind of social embarrassment reason to quit. Of course, there's other reasons. So wanting to stop smoking revolves around having a personal reason, and there are different types of them. There's the vanity reason that you smell. There's a social embarrassment reason that your teeth are looking terrible, you have bags under your eyes, you smell. There's also the wanting to be there for other people reason, having children, having grandchildren, wanting to see them grow up, wanting to live a full and active life and being an amazing role model for them, wanting to be there to the absolute best of your abilities that any of us can do to look after ourselves so that we don't have to put them and our families and friends through the agonizing pain of seeing us go through a totally preventable long period of illness and death. If it's absolutely possible to prevent that. So sometimes there'll be like a a strong kind of positive impact from looking at the consequences of our actions on other people. Of course, there can be other components. So, stopping smoking reasons can have many, many flavors. So it can be the vanity, it can be the wanting to avoid social embarrassment, it can be the consequences for other people, and the consequences for other people can be a really powerful reason, a really powerful reason. You know, it's that it's not that it makes it necessarily easy to go through the second part and the second decision, certainly not if you're doing it by yourself, but it can get you to the point where you know you're going to do it, you know you're going to stick through it. Look, I'm in a running club and I train for runs, and there will be times when you just don't want to do it, okay? And you'll hit a wall and things are tough, all right? But you've got a reason, which is I want to get to this place. I know I want to get through it. And that will motivate you, that the motivation to quit is what will get you through it. So motivation to quit smoking comes from having a strong reason. A lot of the time, it's true, there is a negative component to it. It is moving away from the perceived risk of what could happen to you in the future. It can be something present, like recognizing that you really smell, or that you've noticed somebody look at you and move away or leave the room, and you just get a sense that it is because you smell. And honestly, you do smell if you smoke. All right, and whether or not you clean your teeth, it's going to have an effect on your teeth. All right, so these can be powerful, powerful impulses. All right, it doesn't matter if the initial impulse is negative, because what it does is it helps you take a step back and go, my God, there is an impact to my behavior. Okay, and something needs to change. So when you realize that something needs to change, really think about it. That's the purpose of having a reason. If you don't have a reason, you're not going to stick with anything, okay? So it's important to take some time to think about it. Maybe you've gone out for a bit of a run, or you've gone out for a walk with someone and you're just completely out of breath, and you realize, I can't believe it. We have a client who's really, really successful, who had two young children, and he went out with them and couldn't keep up with them in the park. And he said, I cannot believe this. I used to train when I was younger. I was very, very fit. Now I can't even run around with my children in the park without getting out of breath. It really scared me. It worried me, because they're young now and they're only, how am I going to keep up with them? How am I going to be there for them if I'm like this now? I've got to change. Enough is enough. That's the power. That's the power of having a strong reason to quit smoking. If you don't have a strong reason to quit smoking, then nothing's going to change. All right. And I think for a lot of people, if you are on the fence and you're not sure what your reason is, then you'll have to start with the negative. You'll have to start with, what are the perceived consequences over time? How's it going to be for your family and friends if the worst health things happen to you? What's the impact going to be on them if you smelling the whole time? What's the impact going to be financially to other people if you continue on the way that you are? What's the impact of you in terms of you being able to be there and be present for them, if you're spending all this time worrying about smoking, worrying about where you're going to go? Are you going to be able to sit there and have a conversation right the way through the meal and actually be there and focused for them? Or are you going to be completely focused on the addiction, on the smoking addiction? Make a decision, be honest with yourself, and get to that point where you decide to quit. Because, look, there is hope. There's hope when you have a strong reason. A strong reason will help you to quit. If you don't do anything, you stay stuck. You stay stuck where you are, and things will get worse over time. Yes, there are some anomalies who can live to a ripe old age, but honestly, typically, on average, smokers live about 9 years less than other people, all right? And they spend on average $200,000 more, plus per, in their lifetime on smoking. Make a decision to quit, find your reasons, and realize there's a whole breadth of them. It's got to be personal to you. You have to have your own strong reason for yourself, for other people. whether even it could be to make the environment a better place. All right, whatever it is, make that decision to be a non-smoker today.